Hello, my name is Rem Collier. I am one of the directors of the Negotiated Learning Program, and in this video I'm going to talk to you about how you choose the modules that you're going to take during your master's program. This master's program is known as the Negotiated Learning Program. What that means is that you get to choose what modules you take over the year. So every student who comes in gets a personalized curriculum that is designed to meet their objectives and their goals for the master's program. It's also done so that you can also tailor that program so that you don't have to replicate things that you've already done in the past. So if you've been a Java developer for 10 years, then you don't need to take an introduction to Java module. So you can modify and customize your curriculum to meet your needs and based on your experiences and to meet your personal career goals. Okay, and that's a really powerful thing that you get out of this program, but it comes with a cost. The cost is that you are opened up to a selection of maybe 80 or 90 modules that you have to choose from, and that's not an easy process. You'll be basing your initial decisions of those modules on things called module descriptors, which are formal descriptions of what the module is about, and you'll be expected to try and understand what they are, what those modules cover, as you make your selections. And sometimes it's not always clear what the module is about in terms of what the module is actually going to offer you versus what you want to do. So because that process can be a little complex and a little tricky, we've developed something called the Student Needs Assessment process, which is a process that we use to help you make the choices that are right for you. Now that process takes place mainly within the week before the start of term, or the start of the semester. It's called, and that week is known as the NL Induction Week. In that week, you'll have some meetings on the Monday where you'll get to meet myself and Fred in person. Sorry, I was jumping ahead. And you'll book an appointment with an advisor, something known as a Student Needs Assessment Advisor, who will have a one-on-one session with you to talk about what modules you want to take and help you tailor your program to achieve your learning goals and based on your experiences. Now, traditionally what we do is we support this whole student needs assessment process with a system that we've built called the NL Induction System. And traditionally what we do is we ask you on the Monday to log into we introduce this system to you on the Monday, we ask you to log in, and we ask you to start filling in your module selections. We ask you to complete a form called a student needs assessment form, and we ask you to book a slot all on the Monday. So this year we've changed things a little bit in that what we're going to do is we're going to ask you to log on or register with the NL system as soon as possible after you finish listening to these videos, and we're going to ask you to make some initial module selections. Now, when you make those module selections, it's not going to be clear. It may be clear to you exactly what modules you want to take, and you may be able to go in there, quickly select the modules and say, that's my choice. It may be that there is some uncertainty in you, and it may be that there are maybe slightly more modules or there are slightly less modules that you are sure about or that you're interested in taking. So maybe if you want to take, so we assess modules based on something called credits. Maybe you're supposed to pick 60 credits. Maybe there's 70 credits of modules that you think you're interested in. We're not asking you to tie yourself down to the 60 credits that you are going to do initially. What we'll ask you to do is make a selection around the modules that you're sure you want to do and that you're interested in doing, and you think you want to take. Okay, those module selections can change later on. It's not something that we're fixing. You're not making a choice now that is fixed. In fact, within UCD, you can change modules well into the semester. So you can actually go into the semester and you can change modules. You can swap it out a module in the first 2 weeks of the semester. So none of these choices are binding. None of these choices are fixed. These are just an initial set of choices that you make that you think you want to do when you're on the program. Okay? What's going to happen is in the NL Induction Week, you're going to have a meeting with an SNA advisor who is a member of academic staff, and you're going to discuss that module selection with them, and you're going to refine your module selection towards a more concrete set of modules that you'll take. Okay? But what we're asking you to do is to think about it in advance and to record what you think you're interested in straight away, earlier, so now, so that then we can understand what we think you are interested in, so we can try to prepare better for when you arrive. Okay, so we will ask you to log into this thing called the NL induction system, which I'm going to show you later on. I'm going to give you a demo of later. We're going to ask you to make some initial selections. We're also going to ask you to fill in a form that just describes your learning objectives and your career goals and your background a little bit. And then when we get closer to the NL induction week, we will ask you to book a meeting with an advisor through that same system. Now, when you have that meeting, let me be clear to you, what you're doing in that meeting is a chat that you will have with a member of academic staff from within the School of Computer Science. That member of academic staff, that advisor, knows about the modules that are being offered and can help you in your module selection, help you to tailor your module choices. So they might be able to say, well, actually that module is not such a great module to take because of X. So therefore, they might suggest an alternative module or tell you to go and have a look at an alternative module. When you finish that meeting with that advisor, so in that meeting with that advisor, what you're going to do is you're going to start by quickly introducing yourself. You're going to describe your learning career goals, what you want to do, and maybe a little bit about, in the introduction to yourself, you might explain a little bit about what your experiences are, so what your experience is, so what you've done in the past. And then you're going to spend most of the meeting talking about what modules you want to take. And you'll do that through the NL induction system. Within the system, we have a nice little tool that allows you to check for clashes and incompatible modules. So you can start to look at the system and you can start to make choices through the system with the advisor. Once you finish that discussion, most of the time what you finish the meeting with is an agreed set of modules that you will take, and that set of modules will be written into a form on the NL induction system and will be submitted to Travis or to the program manager, who will then register you for the system. So when the form is submitted, it doesn't mean that you are registered. What it means that you have been the modules you want to take have been recorded and are sent to the program manager. The program manager then manually enrolls you in the modules that are listed on your form. If there is an issue with any of those modules that we didn't catch in the SNA process, he will come back to you and ask you to revise your selection, and possibly, if necessary, have another chat with your advisor to talk about those issues. If you're a full-time student, you should select 60 credits of modules, so your full year's worth of modules. If you're a part-time student, you should select 30 credits worth of modules, which is just enough modules for the coming year. Okay. The way that you book your meeting and the way that you provide the information, the way that you register you identify what modules you're interested in, is through this online system we have built called the NL induction system. You access it through the URL here, https://nl.cs.ucd.ie, and I'll walk you through this, but basically what you do is you register yourself using your UCD student number, not your application number, your student number. Your student number will be something that starts, probably for most of you, will start with the number 24, because we're in 2024. If you're somebody who have previously been registered with UCD or previously taken a module or been a student of UCD, your number might be older. So for example, my student number for UCD is 96, but starts with 96 because I first registered as a student in UCD in 1996. So you can imagine I'm a good bit older than you, but your student number is a number that should start with the number 24. Okay, so you fill in the registration, you register yourself, you get an email, you log in, and then you basically fill in your student needs assessment form, and you make your module selections. At a later date, you will then book an SNA meeting, and it's important to this. So initially, when you try to go in, you might not find any slots. So I have a pretend slot set up for this example, but you won't see the slots until that's set up by Travis or by the various advisors. So before you take your SNA session, and let me say this more clearly, before you start looking and making decisions about what modules you want to take, you should start by looking at what modules we offer, and those modules are available through this URL here. Okay, so look at this list, start identifying the modules you're interested in taking, read the descriptions carefully, calculate the number of credits associated with that. You have to have 60 credits. Okay, you might be able to, depending on the sort of modules you select, you might be able to get away with 62.5 credits. You might be able to get away with 65 credits. but you will not be able to have any more than 65 credits max. And you may not get away with 65 credits, okay? Don't worry about the timetable clashes here, but when you enter your module descriptors, my suggestion is that when you're doing this, you do this actually before your session, but after you've registered the NL system. Because as I'll show you in the system, you can basically check whether or not the modules you're selecting clash. Okay. Each module descriptor can be accessed by a module code. So what you do is you fill in the HTTPS www.ucd.ie/modules/ and then you put the module code, and that will take you to the module descriptor page for that module, and you can read about the module. It tells you a load of different things. So if I just select this quickly and I drag this across, so you can see here is the Comp 30220, so you can see some summary of what's involved in the module, when it is, how it's delivered, what level, number of credits, how are you graded, and down below you can see some description about what's going to be offered, what will I learn, how will I learn, so what's involved, so lectures, practicals, am I eligible, so you can't take this other distributed systems module, which is the postgraduate version of the same module. How will I be assessed, so different assignments and exam, what happens if I fail, and so on and so forth. So who are the staff associated with it? So you can find various things. So this is my module, so you'll see at the top, I think, who is the lecturer? That's me. Yes, I'm the module coordinator. So that's an important piece of information to know, because in some cases you might need to talk to the module coordinator in order to get some permission, some access. In general, if you have to send an email to a module coordinator, you can use UCD as a convention. They have email addresses that is firstname.surname@ucd.ie. Okay, so you should be able to easily find easily contact the module coordinator. So anyway, back to the presentation. Oops, that's the NL induction system there. Quick look. Okay, so you make your choices, and what I would suggest you do is that you use the NL induction system to work through what module selections you want to take, because it automatically generates your timetable, and you can have a look and you can think about it and reflect on your choices as you do it. So when you look at that page that I pointed out here, this page here, okay, you come up with a page that looks something like this, and this page contains essentially a series of groupings of modules that you can look at. Okay. When you look at those descriptions, you'll see there's a title, and that's actually has a link to the module descriptor. You see what semester it's in, so 1 is autumn, 2 is spring, 3 is summer. You see the number of credits associated with it, and there are often some comments, okay, that help you to that provides some information about the module, where there is information that's not available, that's specific to the NL but is not available in the module descriptor. So here you'll say this module on cognitive psychology, there's a comment that there's not really much computer science content, it's really cognitive science and cognitive psychology that's being discussed. And here in the introduction to cognitive science, you see there's no computer science content, but you also see here there's a comment, approval required. And some of the modules that you might want to take will have this approval required comment next to it. If there is a module that has approval required next to it, then you have to contact the module coordinator before you can choose the module. Okay. For example, all the stats modules offered are restricted, so they require approval from the module coordinator. Now, when I say before choosing, what I mean is that you could select the module. It's really, the module is restricted and you can't be registered to the module without permission from the module coordinator. That's a little bit different to what it reads as here. So what I'm saying in particular is that if you want to take Introduction to Cognitive Science, okay, you can select it in your module selection. You go to your SNA meeting, you discuss it, and if after your meeting you have persuaded the advisor that it's really something you want to do and why you want to do it, okay, the advisor will say to you, okay, now you have my permission to contact the module coordinator of Introduction to Cognitive Science, who happens to be Fred Cummins, so the other director of the program. In that case, you will send an email to Fred saying, hi, I'd really like to take this module because blah, blah, blah. Please can I have permission to take it? And pretty much, in general, the module coordinator will say, yes, you can. And they will CC, you should CC your SNA advisor and Travis. and the module coordinator will respond to everyone, and therefore Travis will see that you've been given permission, and he will register you for that module. He will not register you for any module that requires approval before approval has been given. Yeah. So one thing to point out, and just to come back to, when you see in the NL induction system, you'll see a set of modules that you've chosen. Okay. If you go into SysWeb and have a look at SysWeb, those are the modules that you're registered for. So you can always see that what you're registered for versus what modules you've chosen. And that process, just to be clear, that process of taking things from the NL induction system and putting them into the UCD system is a manual process that is managed by Travis. Okay. And there's no other way for us to do that. The UCD system cannot really support, doesn't really have the support for doing any sort of automatic registration process like we are trying to do within the NL program. So, to summarize, if you want to take a module that requires approval from the module coordinator before approving, you have to send an email to the module coordinator asking for permission. It's useful if you provide some additional information explaining why you want it. Once you get, ideally you should CC Travis on the email, but if Travis is not CC'd in the response, you should forward the permission email to Travis when you receive it, and you should do this after your SNA session, once you have agreed that you should take the module with your SNA advisor. So as I say, the modules are loosely organized into themes. These themes are meant to help you identify modules that fit well together, or modules that are related to a common topic. Okay, you do not have to, you are not forced to pick from within any theme. You can pick from across the themes that are available, as and how you would like to. So it's just an organizational structure that helps you to understand the different types of modules that we have. It's not, there is no constraint on taking modules, with the exception of one, which is this advanced software engineering block down here. These advanced software engineering modules are part of another part-time master's program that is offered in UCD, and that program runs, that program is dedicated to, it's an advanced program that's specifically for people who have 2 to 3 or more years of experience in industry as a software engineer. Okay, so if you want to take any of the modules offered on the Advanced Software Engineering tab, you're going to have to go through another process by which you contact the director of the MSc program, and you ask for permission to do that. And you have to demonstrate that you have 2 years of experience as a module in industry that are relevant to the type of experience that is expected. Okay. So just to note, modules have capacities. Modules are, or classes are given in, lectures are given in rooms. Rooms have capacities due to fire safety. We are constrained in that any module we offer the number of students that we can have on the module is limited by the room that module is scheduled in. Okay. We try in advance to make sure that every module is scheduled in rooms that have the capacity for the students. Okay, but every year there's always some change in the modules that are of interest to students, and we have very limited ability to predict which modules are going to become more popular and which modules will become less popular on a given year. We do everything we can to ensure that all the modules you might want to take are available, and that's part of why we're asking you to give us some module selections earlier this year, to see if there's any way we can shift a couple of rooms if we think it's possible if we think we might need a little bit more capacity. Okay, but occasionally for a small number of modules we have difficulty accommodating everybody on the module. Okay, for some of our most popular modules we offer multiple offerings of the same module, or similar offerings of the same module, same content, and we do that in order to provide you with alternatives where one of the modules may not be available. We will do our very best to get you on every module that you want to go. Okay, there will possibly be one or two of you who don't get every choice you wish. Okay, please be understanding if this happens. Okay, we're doing our best. We are working within the constraints of UCD's modular system, in the constraints of UCD's capacities, the size of the rooms, and those things, whilst new rooms are being brought online regularly in UCD, there's a whole new building being built for lecturing. We don't have control over that, and it's not instantaneous. So we'll do our best to get everyone on. If it's a case where a module is full, what we will do as well is we provide a standby list, and invariably what happens is in the first week or two of term, one or two of the people taking the module drop off. They say, "Oh, that's not what I wanted to do," and a few places become available. And most people, whilst they maybe don't get it, most of those people who have not managed to get their first module choice get the opportunity to go and take that module within the first couple of weeks. Okay, so please be aware, please be patient. We're doing our best. We're doing everything we can to get you to have the best experience you can have on this program. But it is challenging because of the complexity and the number of options available, and just the sheer numbers of people that are taking the program. So, before I go through this recap, I'm going to take a quick jump out of the system. I'm going to hide my PowerPoint, and I'm going to go into this. I'm going to log myself out here. So this is the NL system. I can get rid of this bit here. That forwards you on. So that's what you get to when you go to the website. So if you are a new student that wants to, so once you have watched this video, what we ask you to do is go find your student number and go onto this system and click on student registration. And the first thing that you do is you enter a student number. Now, as I said, my number began with 96. I can never remember my number, it's so long ago. But your number will probably begin with the number 24 because of the year 2024. It may begin with an earlier number if you have been, whatever the number is, it will correspond to the first year that you registered as a student in UCD. So, I'll say 96, and then I don't remember my number, but I'll put 1, 2, 3, 4. Yours should be probably, I think, an 8-digit number. But you enter your student number and you hit validate. Okay? If that number has already been registered with the system, you will get an error. And you'll be asked to contact myself or Travis, who will be able to essentially go and work out what's going on. If you fail to make an account, we can possibly delete your existing account. We can resend the email, registration email. We can try and fix it for you. But you should see this page, which says your student number was this, and then it's asking you to give some basic information. So rem rem.collier@ucd.ie, and my date of birth. There you go. You can work out how old I am now. It's 51 years, and you hit register. And submitted. And hopefully what happens is you get an email. It's not come through yet. Okay. Okay, maybe it went into my spam. Did it go into spam? No. Or mail. Okay, so I'm logging into this system from another side. I'm just gonna let me log myself in. Oh, I need to log in. Oops. Okay, so there's a little problem happening. I just need to use another tool. I'm going to log in as administrator and see if we can get this fixed. So the emails are a little bit slow, and that's something I've noticed. I'm not sure why it's slow, but you do get the emails eventually. But you just have to be patient. They can take a few minutes to come through. through. Where's the email gone? Okay, I'm just going to pause this for a second and we'll come back when I've got the email back. Okay, so I worked out what happened. There was a small delay. I've probably got a small bug to fix, but for now, I'll just quickly show you my email. And what you should receive is an email that looks something like this from myself and Travis. Dear Rem, thank you for registering, blah, blah, blah. Click to complete. So you click on that button. You get asked to enter a password. And you click OK. And you're registered. Now you should be able to take the number in 9634. Put my password. And I'm logged in. I can save my. I'm not going to save it here. And this then is the dashboard that you have within the NL induction system. Okay, so you can see here you've got some information about you know that you entered before. There's a space where the forms that you complete will be recorded. There's a space for module selections that I'll come back to in a minute, and there's a to-do list. So you see the first thing in the to-do list is complete the student needs assessment form. So if you click select, it brings you to the form. So it has to give you your background. So I'll give you some of my background: BSc Mathematics, 1994, MSc Computation, 1995, MPhil Computer Science, 1996, PhD Computer Science, 2001. So that's why, because when I came in 1996 to UCD, that's why my student card is labelled as 1996. Area of interest: I wanna be a data scientist. My motivation: to make loads of money and be happy. Okay, so you enter some. Obviously, you enter something more serious. So you give some information about your background. Maybe I worked as a lecturer in computer science for 2000. I started in 2003, so 2013, 23, so 21 years. Well, let me say I have worked and still working as a lecturer in computer science, 21 years. So you give some information about what you've done, your background, a little bit of information about what you want to do, so what you want to be. I want to be a data scientist, and because I'm actually a software engineer by nature, and some motivation of why you want to do it. You're motivated, and it doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be a lot. Just make sure you get across. You don't have to write lots of paragraphs. Just get across the idea and give enough information to help your SNA advisor to understand what you want to do. And the idea is that they will try to read this before your meeting. So you submit the form. You say yes, I'm happy. I'm not going to change it, and the form appears down here. You can go and look at it if you want. But you'll see that the to-do list has changed. Now you need to book a student needs assessment meeting. And over here you still have the module section. Now, remember, what we're asking you to do is we're asking you to log on earlier and register earlier than you would normally register. Okay, so normally you'd be doing this on the Monday of the NL induction week, and you'd be having a meeting on the Tuesday, and we would have set up a number of slots for you to make a booking to book a meeting. But now we're asking you to complete the assessment form and to get to this point once you've watched this video, or as soon as you can within reason after you've watched this video. And Travis will give you more information about the deadlines for this. So what we're going to ask you to do second then is not to book a student needs assessment meeting, but is to go into module selection. Okay, so this is the module selection form, and you can change this form. You don't have to have one form. Okay, and the idea is what you do is you say, what do you want to do? You click on a module for semester 1, and you choose a module. So I'll choose, that's one of my modules, multi-agent systems. And then what I can do, come over here and I can go check timetable, and it's not appearing on the timetable. So I'll work out why it's not appearing, but you'll see something appearing on the timetable here. And if it might be that it's not actually been formally updated yet, the timetables, which is why it's not available. So basically, once the timetables are available, the timetable will appear on here, and most of the entries appear in black. If there is a clash, the entries will appear in red. If you see a clash, if the clash is between two lectures, then you cannot take those two modules. If the clash is between a lecture and a practical, then you may be able to take those modules. Okay, if the clash, or between two practicals. Okay, it's only if there's a clash between lectures that you definitively cannot take those modules. They clash, you cannot do both modules. But if there's a clash with lectures and labs, or with labs, you may be able to. Okay, at which point you need to talk to your SNA advisor about it, and you need probably to ask the module coordinators of if there is a lecture lab clash or lecture practical clash, then you probably need to talk to the module coordinator of the lab to see whether or not you can miss that lab. Some will say yes, some will say no. But if they say yes, then you'll be allowed to take the module. If they say no, then unfortunately it's still a clash and you can't take both modules. So you go around, you keep adding modules as you think. Some machine learning. Let's add some exploring Ruby. So as you keep adding modules, you update selections. You do the same for for semester 2. You check the timetables, and again, this will happen. This is because even now I think the timetables are not available. Okay, so you should get the timetables appearing here, and you should be able to see the clashes. And even if at this point in time there are clashes, it's not the end of the world. Where you need to resolve the clashes really is when you talk to your SNA advisor, because then you can say, well, these are the two modules I like, which one is the better module to take. Okay, so once you're finished, you can say save draft, and you can see your drafts are there. You can edit them, and you can do things, and you just leave it like that, and you can go change it as much as you want, and we will on a certain date we will harvest all this information, and we will understand, kind of get an idea about what needs you as students had. Now later on towards the induction week, we will ask you to book a student needs assessment meeting, and that's this option here. So then when we get to the point where we ask you to make a booking, you click on the select, and what you'll see is a bunch of options available. Now these options will be in September, and they'll be on these days in September, the 3rd to the 6th of September. So you will not see options that are available. So here I've got an example one, so Rem can talk to Rem about his module sections at 8 o'clock. It's 11:30, so I can go back in time to talk to myself. But basically there's a slot available here. All you do is you find a slot with somebody you want to talk to, you're happy to talk to, and you click on the slot. And now you see that you have I have a meeting with myself today at 8 o'clock, and there's this video calling. So again, we understand that sometimes there's a situation where some of you may not be able to get here in time for the induction week. It does happen. In that case, we sometimes allow SNA meetings to take place over video, over Zoom, in which case the SNA advisor can create a Zoom link and put a Zoom link into there, and then you can click on the Zoom link to do a call at the allotted time, an online call at the allotted time. Okay, so that's the induction system. That's what you have to do. If I recap what you've got to do, so I'll go back into the presentation. I'll go back to full screen. Okay, so what you have to remember from this talk. Firstly, when you have finished this talk, you should register with the NL induction system. Secondly, you should complete, and once you've registered, you should complete the SNA form. Okay, remember when you register, it may take a little while for the emails to come through, but they will come through eventually. If they're not coming through, contact myself or Travis. Complete the SNA form, tell us about what you want to do for semester 1. Make your initial set of module selections, and use the check timetable option to check the module selections, and stop. When you get an email at a later date from Travis telling you to book a meeting with an SNA advisor, then you book the meeting, then you attend your SNA meeting in person or online, and then after you've had your SNA meeting, you send any necessary follow-up emails required by your module selection. So asking for permission to take modules, asking if a clash between a lab or a practical, between a lecture and a practical is acceptable, things like that. You do all those after your SNA meeting, yeah? Because it's only at that point there that you've kind of agreed an initial set of modules that you think you're going to take for the year. And it's that point there where you're committing that you need to send those emails to ask for permission. Okay. Now, just the last thing to remind you of is that even if you agree on those emails, so two last things to remind you. Once you submit your form with your SNA advisor to Travis, to the program administrator, at that point there you are not registered. The form with your module selections has gone to Travis. Travis has to register you still. So you will only be registered when you see those modules appearing on SysWeb. And SysWeb is not the same as the NL induction system. The NL induction system is a standalone system. The second thing, okay, is that sorry, the banging from the work. I forgot what the second thing is. So the main thing is, you're not registered until you see modules on SysWeb. Okay, you may those modules may change over time. The second thing I want to say is that even when you are registered with those modules on SysWeb, that's not the final thing. Okay, so if you start in the first 2 weeks, you can take some additional, go and attend some extra lectures, and if you decide you've made a mistake in the first 2 weeks, you can still make a change. If you want to make a change, you talk to Travis directly and say an email saying, Travis, I would like to, or to your advisor, okay, CCing Travis, saying, Rem, hi, I'd like to drop this, I've been to these lectures, I'd like to drop this module and take this module instead. So you give clear, I want to drop this module, I want to take this module, you give the module code, and I will say yes or no. And Travis will check whether there is capacity for you to do that as well. Okay. So best of luck with your process, with your best of luck with your year. I hope you have a great time. I hope you really enjoy your year in UCD doing the NL program. If you have any questions or any problems, please come and talk to myself and/or Fred. And if you have any issues with the NL induction system, probably I'm the best person to ask questions about. Okay. All the best. Take care. Bye bye.